Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. I'm Lance Ash, and with me today, as always, is my wife Bonnie.
Oh God, help me!
You're supposed to say hello.
Hello.
Hello, she said. Look at the cows. Oh, that's nice. Drove by a bunch of cows grazing in the shade. Anyway, let's begin as usual by discussing what happened over the weekend. I had a 3-day weekend because I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday and 2 doctor's appointments.
5 hours. We were out 5 hours.
I'll tell you one thing of significance. I did 30 minutes of aerobics for the first time in I don't know how long. I've been slowly working my way up to that accomplishment. I have been a user of the official Jane Fonda step box for well over 25 years. It comes in 3 stages. It's 3 different levels, and for years I've done the highest level with all 3 blocks or whatever, but it's just gotten to be too much. So so I stepped it down to just the 2 levels. It was much easier, and since I'm doing it indoors, I've been doing it in my socks, and much easier on me and on the carpet. So I finally achieved 30 minutes this morning while listening to an old Mystery Science Theater episode. I don't like the new Mystery Science Theater with Patton Oswalt. I gave it like 6 minutes, and I just thought it was forced. What did you do this weekend, Bonnie?
I don't remember.
You made banana bread.
Yes, I made 2 loaves of banana bread.
And
Samosa
Diaz from Chef John, another YouTube personality. They combine the ease of quesadillas with the stuffing inside of a samosa. They're pretty good. The sauce is the main thing that makes them good. It's sort of a mint chutney with some serrano peppers chopped up. I guess it has serrano peppers in the sauce, right?
Yeah, as well as green onions.
Yeah, it's really, really piquant. I'll tell you something I did. I reread part of an old novel I wrote back in 2009. It's posted on my old blog, and I was shocked, number one, at how good it was, and I was shocked at how much the themes that I'm pursuing now in my work were present even back then, which lends credence to the idea that I've been moving towards a certain resolution to my life's project unconsciously all this time. So, do you have an anecdote from your past you'd like to?
Oh, hell no.
Nothing?
No, nothing.
Okay. You should come up with something.
I don't have anything I want to share.
No time that maybe an uncle or aunt spilled soup on themselves or something?
No.
Okay. Do you remember on Fawlty Towers when the French chef they've hired gets drunk and they don't have the meal, so Basil has to go out and get it from the other restaurant and bring it back, and Sybil and Polly have to entertain the guest while he's gone, and Sybil is telling this story about her uncle that came home with a bunch of he says he came home with this crate of brown ale, and she's laughing at her own story that makes no sense. Anyway, okay. I'm trying to think of a story that won't be too embarrassing to my loved ones.
That would be embarrassing?
That would not be embarrassing.
Oh, yeah,
because eventually they're going to listen. They're going to find this online. I didn't.
You talked to your mother this weekend. How did that go? Tell us about the yard work.
Okay, my mother lives next door to us, and she had some people down there doing work in the yard. We could hear the yard equipment rumbling and moving about. And I called her the next day
No, that
or
evening.
that evening. Yeah, that's right. That evening to find out, or just to have my weekly talk with her. So, and I said, what were those people doing down there? She goes, people? Down here? What? I'm trying to recall. What? You had some people down there doing yard work, it sounded like. I'm trying to remember. I can't. And eventually she said she had some people down there going over her driveway to put together an estimate of how much it would cost to do some work on her driveway. And it was a lot more than that, whatever was going on down there. Anyway,
Dementia's bad.
she has the beginnings of dementia. So,
Oh, I did
it's not that bad.
good.
Okay, what?
The food bank. I went to drop off food that my father and I had donated to our food bank. And when I got up there was a ton of food up there. And I was so pleased. Somebody actually put a couple of canned hams up there. There was corned beef, there was Vienna sausages, there was salmon, there was chicken breast. I could not believe they had ravioli and jam and peanut butter and mayonnaise and soups, like Progresso soups. And so I unloaded our trunk full of stuff, which was, 10 vegetables and beans, and my dad bought some chicken breast also. And I put it up there, and it was just jam full. I could not believe how much stuff. And I was going to send a picture to my dad, and I'd forgotten my cell phone, so I couldn't take a picture. A couple hours later, I had to run to Athens, so I had my cell phone. Then I thought I'd stop and take a picture. Almost half of the food was gone in a matter of 2 hours. I knew Saturdays would be a busy day for the food pantry, but I was shocked, first off, at how much had been donated, and then even more shocked at how quickly the food had gone. And Mary and I were talking about this, and I mentioned that it's been 2 weeks now since they dropped the extra benefits for the unemployment insurance, and people are really beginning to hurt, because normally with unemployment, you only get a small percentage of your prior pay. And here they were adding all this extra money because the recession was so bad with the COVID disaster. And so they've cut it off. And people have had to focus on just getting their rent and their car payments made, and they haven't had anything extra. And so I think people are using the food bank more.
Very good. And this food is all in cans.
Yeah. We changed our policy. We're only accepting 10 cans, bottled, things that are sealed that can't be compromised by the elements.
This food is on a shelf, or a shelf unit, two shelf units up on the porch of the old combined post office and general store in our town. This building is probably 100 years old.
Mary owns it.
Anyway.
And I called because you had heard a story about how the little libraries were being turned into little food pantries. Now with, Trump's virus, Trump's recession and all that. And so I called Mary and I said, you have a little library. Can we use it? She said, no, I really want to keep using that, but you can use the front porch of our store. And so we set up 2 shelf units, and we've kept that going for, 3 months now?
About.
Yeah, and it's just constant. People bringing in stuff, people taking stuff away. But about last month or so, we realized that things were getting stolen. Like we had plastic containers up there to keep household goods like toilet paper and soap and shampoo, toothpaste, and we had boxes to keep bagged beans and boxed items like pastas and such in it. And somebody had stolen the boxes and had taken the lid off of another one of them. So we had to change the policy, and we now can only accept canned and bottled food items because it is outdoors and it's open 24/7, and we just need to, it's under a porch, but we need to keep the food intact and safe.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of stories about that building. It's a great big tin building painted red, and on the the right half of it was a general store, and on the left half was the post office for years and years and years for our town. My mother became the postmaster of our town when I was in 4th grade, and our bus would drop us off there every day, and we'd mess around till it was time for her to close up the post office and drive home. So in 6th grade, I got was it me or anyway? I used to sit next to these 2 girls in 6th grade, and we would talk, little sniggeringly about sexual stuff, and just sort of playing around.
Paige.
What?
Who was it?
No, never mind who it was. Because anyway, one of them had a Dymo label maker, and she made all these sort of mocking titles for me, like Make Out King and that kind of shit. And I thought it was funny and also very titillating that this pretty girl was, talking dirty to me. So anyway, I would take these labels and I stuck them on the inside of my notebook, the old Trapper Keeper notebook, and it had like 5 or 6 of them. So anyway, one day I get off the bus at the post office. I go in and leave all my junk on one of the tables inside there, and then I go out to play, and I come back inside, and my mother has gone through all my stuff, and she's deliberately left the notebook open so that I will know that she's gone through and seen this and not been approving of this. And I walked in and saw it was open and didn't look at her and didn't say a word and just walked right back out, just mortified. And that's my parents in a nutshell right there.
Your mother, the lipstick. Remember the lipstick story? The kiss?
Oh yeah, she would do anything she could to shame me. We're getting ready to do something, and she's all dolled up, and so she gives me a kiss and gets lipstick on my face, and I just start to smear it off like ugh, and she goes, "Oh, one day you won't mind lipstick on you. One day you'll love it when some girl gets lipstick all over you." I'm about 10, 11 years old, and it was just embarrassing.
And gross.
And to be set the record straight, I never liked getting lipstick all over me.
I don't wear lipstick. I don't. I never wear lipstick, do I?
Anyway, I'll tell you something else about that building. I had another story in mind about that building.
Bathroom.
Oh, well, when my mother first took over as postmaster, she took over from this old lady who, she's a totally different generation. There was no running water and there was no bathroom in the building. So the older postmaster lady had made do with an outhouse around behind the building. And my mother wouldn't use it. And she would just put a closed sign on the door and drive home and use the bathroom and come back. Anyway, but, I had another story. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. Back when Starsky and Hutch was on the air, that car they drove around was like, the rage. It was, anyway, so I'm sitting on the front porch. That post office general store was like a gathering place for the town, because at that time the population was about 100. So people would sit on the front porch and meet each other. Anyway, I'm sitting on the front porch with some older boys, and these 2 guys drive up in a car, the exact same model as Starsky and Hutch, and they've painted it up to look like the Starsky and Hutch car. And these older boys started making fun of them and mocking them, and I thought it was hilarious. The 2 guys in the car. And when you're a kid, I guess especially a young boy, you think anything the older boys do is cool, and so. But what
about that old man who had a war wound? What was that?
War wound? Oh, I know. There was this guy who would come. See, I would hang around the post office so much that I got to know the regulars that would come in. Everybody in town would come get their mail at the window. And there was this old dude who, I believe, during World War I or II, he got frostbite during a battle or something, and they had to amputate his feet. So he had prosthetic feet, and he would walk around on them. I have no idea how he did that. But anyway, he was talking about it at the window, and he said, people ask me, do you sleep with the feet on? And he said, hell no, I don't sleep with the feet on. And I thought that was just really creepy. Anyway,
Do you remember Mrs. Butt's store?
her name was Frances Butts, B-U-T-T-S, and her store, I only remember the front half of the store. The back half, I don't know what she sold. Probably those really heavily starched coveralls that people used to live in back in the 20s. And but she sold candy and Coca-Cola in bottles in the front. And she had the old-fashioned cash register, the kind where you push the buttons and the 10 plates or the numbers stamped on them shoot up into the glass window.
Did she sell gas there?
She sold gas a long time. She stopped doing that a long time before I was born. But she still had the old pumps in the front, the big tall, like 8-foot tall pumps in the front. And she still had a, I believe it was it was either Phillips 66, Phillips 76 sign, huge thing, like 3 foot wide, circular, up on a pole. She had that for years. And she had the old type of soda pop cooler where you lift, it's like a horizontal freezer. You lift the lid and the Coke is in there, and you got to put the money in, so let's just slide it down this metal track to get it out. And it has a bottle opener in the front. And when you walked out the door of her store, to the left, the porch ended, and the dirt was just littered with hundreds and hundreds of bottle caps that had been pressed into the dirt over the years. I bet you if you go up there right now, you can dig and still find, tons of rusted metal. There used to be a railroad track that ran through there, right in front of the store, and it came through twice a day. And when it crossed the road, it would blow the horn, and you could hear it all the way at our house every day. Isn't that strange? Long time ago, a couple years into our marriage, I was still smoking pot, and I remember going in our backyard. We used to have a bench swing, and sitting down with a book, being high, and sitting there reading, and just sort of all of a sudden realizing everything was really quiet, and I could hear noises and things like a mile away. It was very peaceful, very tranquil experience. Reminded me of when I was a kid, and you could hear my uncle ringing my great uncle ringing the church bell every Sunday morning to summon the faithful to worship. You could hear that 2 miles away from the church. Anyway, our town used to be very small and idyllic, and that's all over with now.
Yeah, now we're at 350 people.
And a lot of them are Trump-supporting redneck scum that have moved in, and I don't want to denigrate our neighbors, but oh well.
They're scum.
All right, let me check the time. Okay, we have 1 minute to kill until we reach our designated.
Give me the knife. I'll kill.
See, look, we got here roughly. Well, no. Used to get at this point 20 minutes after I left the house, but anyway, so there's a little bit of rural nostalgia for you folks. What it was like in the Deep South during the transitional phase from the old horse and buggy days and today's go-go internet-driven world. So I think that's about it. So thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.